I think that is absolutely great. So I know that many celebrities like Snoop Dogg, Whoopi Goldberg, a lot of them are getting into this industry.
Yes.
Have you seen any celebrities from you traveling? Are you working with any celebrities? Would you like to work with any celebrities? I'm pretty sure you would. Have you worked with anyone or seen anyone in your travels?
Sure. And certainly I would like to work with a celebrity and any of the social media influencers. If you're a social media influencer and you don't have a line of products, shame on you, because that's part of the purpose of you having 2 million followers or whatever. What are you selling them? And we can put together a very meaningful program. We can certainly put together products that are reflective of who you are as an influencer. So having said that, there are, as you mentioned, a number of celebrities that are getting into this business. I'm working with a couple now. I can't really say who they are until that product comes out. But I'll just say that they are very popular on, some of the BET channels, VH1 channels, where they're looking to take their fame from that and turn it into profitable, particularly CBD related line of products. I am looking to work with sports figures. Like I mentioned earlier, MMA fighters. We can put a line of products out that addresses people that are MMA fighters, Krav Maga, any of those kind of really, for lack of a better word, I'm putting air quotes, brutal sports. They need the healing properties of CBD badly. So yes, then I do my teas. So I'm looking for singers. I've got products that will soothe those chops. And if you're an influencer and you're in one of these, you're in one of these lanes, you should have your own product line out. And I am just the person to help you do that.
I think you said it properly earlier. This is like, really like the Wild Wild West now. It is like, the gold rush in the West. It's a brand new industry. And even though it's old, it's becoming legal in many different places.
Right.
So being able to partner together with someone that knows what they're doing, I think is important. I think is highly important. So what are some of the hurdles and the roadblocks that an individual face trying to get into this industry, whether they're a grower or they're doing the CBD or anything like that?
Okay, so you can sing that OJ song with me?
Okay. What's that song?
Money, 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 money.
Okay.
That's it. Certainly lack of knowledge, but you can get yourself trained and up to snuff on that. At the end of the day, it's how do you find the money? And then when you find the money and you put groups together, things don't always go as you planned. And this industry is full of, oh my God, curveballs. You sit down in a normal business, you want to open, you put your pro forma together, you provide what you think is going to happen, you have all your assumptions, you say, I think if we put in this amount of money, this is what we're going to make. And for a normal business, that's you probably got a 50% chance of that working. In this business, everything's changing, and you're dependent on so many people to do the right thing at the right time that 50% for another business kind of goes down to 10% in this business. So you got to have staying power. You got to have stay on top of things. You got to understand that what you thought was going to happen may not happen at all. And how are you going to pick yourself back up, get back in the game, and keep moving? This industry is not for the faint of heart at all. It will eat you up and spit you out. And people who came to the table with $1, $2, and $3 million 5 years ago, who didn't have all of the information or did everything right, they still failed. It's no different. It's probably in some magnitude, 2x, 3x. So you got to have some staying power, which is why I say to people, particularly those that say, well, I want a dispensary or I want to grow. The chances of you getting a license are slim. There are only X number of licenses per state.
Okay, how many? So let's answer that. How many licenses are there per state?
There's no set answer. It depends on each state. Each state, based on the geographic reach of that state, the population of that state, determines how many licenses they're going to issue for cultivation, how many licenses they're going to issue for labs, how many licenses they're going to issue for dispensaries. They determine what that is. It could be 300 in one state, it could be 600 in another. And now you've got to go through an application process. Now, some states, and I'll use Michigan as an example, while they were going to put out their application process, they did these kind of civic listening sessions. They had them all around the state where people could come in and sit for hours and listen to what the industry was about. It was their attempt to educate. And also it was their attempt to reach the minority populations of the state, because we have a problem with all these licenses being issued with very few minorities being given the opportunity to participate. Either the finances lock you out, or some of the criminal justice issues lock you out, or some combination thereof. So one of the things, if you Google Oakland and Oakland's marijuana application process, Oakland has sort of a model program relative to part of the licensing process has to include certain zip codes for folks who will be dispensary owners. Now, those zip codes are in areas that are not affluent. Now, what that means is you might be living in that zip code, you may not have any money, but someone's going to approach you who you can partner with, who may have the money, and then you can still get a license. So many states, well, not many, some states have adopted that as a process. And for those states that haven't, we as people need to address that, and almost in some cases mandate that be part of the licensing process.
That is interesting. And how long does that process take to actually, if you have the funds, you go through the application process, how long does it take?
State by state. So let's see.
On an average.
I think Missouri closed their application process in August, and people are supposed to know by November. It can take 3 months, 6 months, 9 months. It depends on, again, the number of licenses, in what category they're being distributed. It depends on the number of applicants. You know, you might have 400 licenses and 4,000 people that apply. So on average, I'd say 6 months is reasonable, and it costs. People that are writing your application, putting your application together, are getting $250,000 to put the application.
Hold on. So if you are a writer out there,
you're writing, you need to familiarize yourself with what these applications look like.
Okay, hold on. So if you are a writer out there, and right. Okay, pick back up where you were saying again.
You need to understand this whole part of the process of getting a license, and we're talking now on the medical and the adult use side. When a state goes public, if you will, on either one of those, and they are now getting ready to issue new licenses, every single entity that is applying has to put in an application. And so you have application writers, like grant writers, if you will, that this is what they do. They've educated themselves. They've gotten themselves a hold of successful applications that were approved, and they go through with their client. Many times, those grant writers are getting paid anywhere from $50,000, $100,000 to $250,000 to write that application, with no guarantee that you will win that license.